Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. I am Madam Afika. So in this lesson, I'm going to brief you pertaining the key elements of an argumentative essay. First of all, let's take a look at the learning objectives for today's lesson. Firstly, you should be able to understand the components needed in an argumentative essay. Secondly, you should be able to identify the essential structure of an argumentative essay. First of all, you need to know the definition of an argumentative essay. What is an argumentative essay? We know that an argumentative essay is a piece of academic writing. All right. In argumentative essay, the author takes a clear stance on a specific issue and supports it with some logical reasonings and also strong evidences. What does it mean by taking a clear stance? Means the author needs to clearly state either totally agree with the topic given or totally disagree with the topic given. So you need to choose side, all right? Only one side. Let's take a look at the structure of an argumentative essay. Now that we know the definition of an argumentative essay, it is one-sided where you need to include your own stance either to fully agree or fully disagree with the topic. So when we have a clear stance, the formula will be very straightforward and direct. The formula is 3 plus 0, which means all the three main points should be supporting your stance. Right? Now, in terms of the organizational pattern, we are going to take a look at the first paragraph known as introductory paragraph. We know that in an introduction, the first sentence will be the hook or the attention grabber. After attention grabber, a few sentences will be talking or discussing on the background information. Since this is an argumentative essay, after the background information or general statements, you need to include one sentence stating your stance. All right. After stating the stance, the last sentence in the first paragraph is known as the thesis statement, which means all the three main points should be clearly stated in your thesis statement. So let's move on to body paragraphs. Since we have three different main points, it means we have three different body paragraphs, which means the first main point that you have introduced in your thesis statement should be placed in the first body paragraph. So the first body paragraph will be discussing entirely pertaining the first main point, complete elaboration with example and explaining the example. All right, so the same process will take place for the second body paragraph and the third body paragraph. Now it's time to complete the final paragraph, which is known as the conclusion. In the concluding paragraph, you need to again restate your thesis statement. You need to restate your three main points and you need to restate your stance. So this is the structure of an argumentative essay. To make it clearer, I'll show you a situation. This is a situation and the statement given to us here is homework should be abolished. So it's time for you to decide to either support, agree with the statement or fully disagree with the statement. All right? Now we are going to look at how to plan and write an argumentative essay about this topic. Homework should be abolished. Let's start with the introduction first. In introductory paragraph, the first sentence should be the hook. So, talking about hook or attention grabbers, there are many types of attention grabbers, such as you can start your essay with shocking statistics, you can start off with a fact, you can start off with a rhetorical question. In this case, we are using rhetorical question. All right. So the first sentence, attention grabber. Have you ever wondered why students are still given hours of homework after spending an entire day in school? So you are asking a question. This will be an attention grabber. After attention grabber, the following sentences, at least 2 to 3 sentences, will be about the background information about the topic. Right? So you can write 2 to 3 sentences on the background information or general statement or the topic itself, the background of the topic. Once you are done with it, you need to include your stance. So it's time for you to clearly state here whether you fully agree or disagree with the statement. For example, therefore, using a suitable linker, I disagree that homework should be abolished. Or to make it sound stronger, you can also include the word I totally disagree that homework should be abolished. Right? So it's very clear that you are disagreeing. Now, the thesis statement, like I mentioned just now, in a thesis statement, you need to include three main points. Three main points that are aligned with your stance just now. All right? For example, this is because. Now, why you disagree that homework should be abolished? Because, number one, it provides a valuable extension of lesson learned in school. Number two, it enables teachers to assess students' understanding. And point number three, it gives parents an opportunity to get closely involved with their children's homework. Right? Here are the three main points. So we are done with the first paragraph, introduction. Now, moving on to the next paragraph, this will be the first body paragraph. In a body paragraph, please remember to always start with a clear topic sentence, which means you need to clearly state your claim and also your reason. All right. So for each topic sentence, you need to start off with a suitable linker to link the ideas. For example, this is the first body paragraph. So you can use firstly to signal that this will be your first main point. So firstly, what was the first main point that you have introduced in your thesis statement? You need to follow the sequence as well, yeah? So firstly, homework should not be abolished as it reinforced what students have learned in school. You are going to discuss about the first point in your first body paragraph. So once you have your topic sentence, next will be your elaboration or explanation about your topic sentence. So you explain further about your topic sentence. Once you are done with the elaboration, you need to give at least one example. So basically, in each body paragraph, one example is sufficient. Right? So give a clear example which suits the topic sentence. For example, one such situation is when students are given mathematics homework whereby they are given more practices. Doing the homework can help reinforce what has been learned for good students and give weak students more practices so they internalize the lesson. This is an example. All right. Right after giving an example, you can further explain about your example, which means this continuous reinforcement outside of classroom, which are referring to the homework, makes learning more effective and long lasting. So once you are done with the elaboration, the example, explaining the example, the last sentence, the closing sentence in each body paragraph is known as a concluding sentence. All right. In a concluding sentence, what you have to do is you need to conclude or restate your main point accordingly. So you have to restate your first main point in your last sentence. That is known as a concluding sentence. So the same process will be for body paragraph number 2 and body paragraph number 3. All right, the same process. So let's take a look at the second paragraph over here. Our second main point is teachers are able to evaluate how well students understand their lesson by assessing the students' ability to complete their homework. So remember, always start your topic sentence with a suitable linker or cohesive device. In this case, since this is the second main point, I'm using secondly. All right. Once you are done with the topic sentence, repeating the same process again, you need to elaborate your topic sentence. You need to give an example for the topic sentence. For example, if a majority of students struggle to complete a homework task correctly, it signals to the teacher that the topic may need to re-explained in class. All right, this is an example. After that, you need to explain your example, and finally, you need to close the body paragraph with a concluding sentence. So this shows that homework is a valuable feedback tool that helps teachers to monitor their students in order to improve them. Right? So what you have to do is you need to restate your main point in your concluding sentence. Now, body paragraph number 3, our third main point just now was about parents. Parents can be involved directly in their children's progress in school by overseeing their homework. Since this is the last main point, we are using finally as our suitable linker. Alright, once you are done introducing your main point known as the topic sentence, you need to explain the topic sentence. So when parents supervise or help with homework, they become more aware of what their children are learning and can identify any areas of difficulty. You are further explaining pertaining your topic sentence. All right. Once you are done with the explanation, now give a clear example for the topic sentence. For instance, a parent who notices their child struggling with a science assignment can provide guidance or inform the teacher about the issue. So this is an example which relates to parents' involvement. All right. And the last sentence, you need to close the body paragraph with a concluding sentence. Therefore, homework is one of the ways parents can be directly involved in with their children, in their studies, in their academic, which means you are restating your main points. All right, so this will be the process or steps for body paragraph. Now it's time for the final paragraph. We have introductory paragraph, three body paragraph, and the final one we have concluding paragraph, the fifth paragraph. All right. For concluding paragraph, you need to restate your stance first. So, in a nutshell, I strongly disagree that homework should be abolished. Why you strongly disagree? Restate your thesis statement, which means you are restating your three main points again. All right. Once you are done with restating the thesis statement, now it's time for you to come up with, you can give us a recommendation, a suggestion, a hope, anything that are related to your topic, right? So before you end your essay, you can also end it with a suitable idiom or sayings that are related to the topic being discussed. For example, after all, practice makes perfect, and homework is the key to mastering what is taught in class. And you are done with a complete argumentative essay. So, just to have a quick recap for this lesson, I have briefed you about the key elements of an argumentative essay. We have 5 paragraphs known as introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3, and also conclusion. What is important, again, I would like to emphasize is in an argumentative essay, it's very, very important to include your stance. Either you are totally agree with the topic or totally disagree with the topic. So I hope the lesson is clear, and now you can write an effective argumentative essay. That's all from me. Thank you.